Hello and namaste. This is Sophie. As promised, I am back with another episode for you all, and I have a very special guest with me today. He is Steve Wood from Leeds Beckett University. Welcome to Access Education Network, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Before starting, can you please introduce our viewers?
Yes, my name's Dr. Steve Wood. I'm a principal lecturer at Leeds Beckett University. I'm in charge of international relations and enterprise, and I've worked for the university a long time, 26 years.
26 years. That's a very long time.
It is.
Yep. And so before starting, how is it here in Nepal? Are you liking Nepal as a whole?
Yes, I am liking Nepal. It's very interesting. I always like to visit different countries, and of course I've been to many countries, so I always get a little bit excited if I go to a country I've not been before, because I always think there's a different experience, a different vibe, and I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much for that. And also, like a brief, how did you start your 26 years journey with Leeds Beckett University?
Well, like most people who enter higher education, we normally enter at the bottom, and then over the period of time we tend to progress, get more responsibility, and I've done a lot of the roles in the law school, virtually every role in the law school, and this is where I've ended up, as you might say. Not at the top, but fairly high up in the law school.
Thank you so much for that. So what about the Leeds Beckett University? Like, where is it located? And what is Leeds Beckett University from your definition?
Well, Leeds Beckett University is kind of an interesting university because it has two diverse campuses. One is in the heart of Headingley, which feels like it's a little bit in the countryside. It's a very old campus, is that. The first building is something like in the 1750 or something like that, the original building. And then the other buildings were built in 18 something else, and it's a fantastic campus. It has a real campus feeling, and of course I've been at that campus, and the law school used to be there, and it was a different vibe up there. We used to have some of the lessons on the acre, on the grass, so it's a real campus vibe, and a lot of the international students are located in the accommodation at that campus. And yet the other side of Leeds Beckett is in the city, in the heart of the city. So we do have some big new buildings in the city, which is great because we're in the heart of the city, we're there around business. So there's two different types of feeling, and I live near the Headingley campus, but I work in the city. That's where the law school is.
Yeah, I also saw the picture yesterday from the law school. Like it's a building of brown color. It's rusty and it's.
That's
very,
right. Yeah. So the law school has been in many different
Yes.
parts of the university over the years I've been there. It's been up at Headingley. It's been at certain areas of the city, at the lower end of the city by the train station, and currently for the last few years we've been in what we call Broadcasting House. And as you say, it's a very unusual building. It looks like a number of boxes that have been arranged in a different style. And it's an award-winning building, and it is rusty. And we call it Rusty Towers, actually,
Yes.
one of its nicknames. But yeah, it's a fantastic location now, and actually go as far as saying the space that we have now is probably the best space that we've had for the law school. It really does feel like a school.
Yep.
You know.
Thank you so much. And also, like for the international students, why should international student come to UK to study law? From your perspective, what are the benefits of studying law in the UK?
Well, the UK has got a strong tradition of higher education. There are many universities in the UK, and some of the oldest universities are in the UK. So it's been an established place to study. Of course, as things have developed over the last decade, recruiting international students has been a high priority for many universities because it's kind of supplemented their income for their home fees. So we ask in one way, the universities are interested in the international market, but it's a great experience for an international student to come and experience, the UK. And I have to say that, a lot of the students that come from abroad would love to stay after their studies. They would love to stay in the UK. They find it a great place to study, great facilities, and the whole vibe, as you might say.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would say about Leeds Beckett, Leeds is a city, and whilst there are many universities in the UK, some of those universities are not in cities. If it's a city, then it has more opportunities. There are more jobs there. There are more things that you can do in the city. And of course, the bigger the city, you will get more international students there, and international students feel comfortable where they see lots of other international students. It makes them feel a little bit secure.
So, in regards to the practical experiences for the students who's looking forward to study law in the UK, so what are the practical experiences that they can gain during the studies?
Well, if they come and study a law degree, one of the things about a law degree, or one of the unique things, is learning a skill set.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that, I guess what we're looking to do with the student is to take them from, you might say, a little bit of a raw point, and when they leave us, they're able to take complex information, understand it, and present that information in an understanding way to somebody who might not understand law. So in a simple way that the normal person might understand. So it's a skill process, and the idea is that's what we want to do. We want to try and challenge students, make it enjoyable, but also giving them, you might say, skills that is valuable when they leave, and they'll serve them well in their future employment.
Yeah, and also in regards to the placement and internship opportunities that the students can get, do these international students also get a chance to have the code practice in the real time? It feels like a real time, or is any opportunities for the student as such?
We try, there is the LLB course, or whichever course you take, that's the course, but obviously we want to add things into that to make it interesting. So we have careers people coming in, we do support through court, which is another process where people get involved, advising people. We have got a module where students can give advice to people, you might say ordinary citizens, about legal issues. We try to create, and there is mooting as well, that's part of the experience. It's not compulsory, people can volunteer to do it, and it's a good opportunity to, you might say, develop your advocacy. And we do have a module called advocacy for students that wanting to go down that pathway. Yeah. So and obviously we want to do student trips, so we have done student trips to Botswana, India. We're looking to go to Vietnam. This year at Christmas we're going to Europe to the Christmas markets. So, and we have trips to London, to Parliament Building, to the courts of law. So we try and enrich the student on the way, not just doing a qualification, but giving them a cultural experience as well.
And also, I have a question in regards to in courtroom, that I saw a picture yesterday as well, which is shared by Prabal. So he shared me the in courtroom where the actual practice is done, and it was a kind of a real time. Does the real issues get discussed in that room, like in court?
We have a mock court room.
We
have a mock court room, and what we would do in a mock court room is that you would have two teams, and there would be two people in either team. One with the junior and one will be the senior, and they both have a role. Each people is given a legal case, and one is to act for the applicant, which is bringing the case to the court, and then one is acting for the respondent. And the idea is to present your arguments using case law to the judge, and we will bring people who are barristers to judge the moot. And of course, whoever it's not particularly whether you've got the better case, it's whether you present the better argument. So that's what we try to do, and it does. I mean, it is quite a challenge for, you might say, students, but at least you have an experience of, you might say, presenting information, and that's part of, if you want that type of lawyer where you're a litigator, that means that you go to court, then there's the kind of skills that you need to be looking for. But obviously not all lawyers go to court. Lots of lawyers, sitting officers, you might say the best solicitors or the best lawyers don't go to court because they prevent their clients from entering the court, and they deal things outside court. Those are the best lawyers.
Thank you so much for that. And also, talking about the different challenges that we're facing currently in this time of AI and everything. So what is your say on the challenges that this profession might face with AI? Do you have anything to say?
Everything and everyone is challenged by artificial intelligence, and it's becoming more and more prevalent. And use in even our institution. We see higher levels of the use of AI. And in some ways it's a difficult thing to manage, because you might say, why not? Because surely the future is using AI, and yet what we're trying to do is prevent it. I guess what we're trying to say is you should be able to do these things without AI, and then later AI will help you. It's better not to use AI. Because the trouble with using AI is that you can get an answer that you don't really understand because you haven't done the work. And that's why when some people use AI, and some students do, they get lower marks because the information isn't accurate, and they don't know because they haven't done the work. So we do have software. We ask for assignments to be uploaded into a system which checks for plagiarism, and it gives us an AI score. And if you have an AI score, we will read that work on that report very carefully, and the likelihood you will score a low mark if we see it's done by AI. So lots of people are using AI, but you have to use it more for preparation than actually using it to submit something, because that then becomes a risk, and it has an impact on your grades.
Yeah, definitely. And also, it's not your work. You can just take the guidance from them, or you can just take the idea from how you want to portray your thoughts forward.
Oh yeah, you can get an answer from AI, but you must do the research yourself
to verify,
and then edit out things and include things. So you might say it's a good tool for preparaton, but to use the tool for actually submission is a different thing altogether. So I would always err on caution using AI, and I would use AI sometimes. So, for example, feedback, then I'll look at it and I'll think, yeah, that's good, but this isn't, and it needs editing. Where some students are just taking it all because they don't understand what they're looking at. Yeah,
definitely. And also, just one question popped out of my head. I'm just curious that, you've known the law industry for quite some time. So in regards to the use of AI for the cases that's presented in the court, how often do you see that, for the people who's not involved in the crime, or in the particular case, how has it started?
It has started. There are some judges that actually use AI to deliver a judgment, but they will edit the judgment, they will see it. But there have been some instances where lawyers have submitted an application with AI and the cases don't exist.
Okay.
And they have been subject to disciplinary proceedings because, it's again a bit like a student using things which hasn't been edited. So, you've got to be very, very careful when you're using AI. And the issue is that it's going to get more than before it gets less.
Yes.
But there is one way of stopping AI, is to bring everybody in to do an exam.
Definitely. Yes.
That's one way, but we don't plan doing that.
Yes.
But we do plan on introducing. No doubt we're going to, and other universities will have to do this. They will have to bring students in to do certain assessments to show that it's not being done by AI.
Yes, definitely. And also, so as you mentioned, it's a very critical and intensive, I think studying law as a whole is a very intensive course. So how does the university support the international students studying the law program?
I think, the first thing is you keep saying international. We see the students as the students,
Yeah.
We try not to split them and say, you sit over there, you sit over there. To us, they're all students. That's the first thing.
Yes.
But we do accept that international students, they're out. It's different. They've got to assimilate into a different culture completely. So we do what we did this year, because we had lots of international students. We created some specific international support. So we have, you might say, a database of all our international students, and we would email them for international drop-ins, which wouldn't go to the other students. Now, we didn't tell the other students this because they would say, hold on a minute, these international students are getting more support than the home students. But we think they might need a little bit more anyhow, But everyone gets an academic advisor. We do have, that's one thing I would say, is we almost over-support, which some people think, well, we're supposed to be teaching them, not cuddling them, but that's one thing that we're very good at, is actually supporting students.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think Leeds Beckett has done a wonderful job on that, as we also take the feedback from our students, and they're very happy studying there. And they never felt, as you mentioned, that they never felt as an international student or the domestic student. They're considered as a student.
Yeah. I think it's important that. In fact, when we were contemplated creating a law society for international students, and I kept thinking, why would you want to do that? Have a separate law society for international students. If I was an international student, I want to join the one and only unit with everyone in there, because you're going to get more enriched if you associate with different cultures rather than just staying with your own culture. If I went to study in Nepal, the last thing I would want to be around is English students. I would want to be around the local students.
Multicultural environment.
Exactly.
That's why they're going for further studies.
Exactly. And that's what it should be about.
And about the courses available in Leeds Beckett University, like what are the different courses that they can study in Leeds Beckett University for the law program?
Well, obviously Leeds Beckett University has many schools, business schools, sports, it's a big sport academy, got a new building up there, that's a fantastic facilities, built environment. And then, of course, we have the law school, where we've got going on 2,000 students. We do an array of undergraduate courses and postgraduate courses. Most international students are doing the LLM. That's the most of them. But we have got a substantial increase in undergraduate students as well. So, we've got people coming to do either LLB or an LLM if they're international. So those products are well known. The LLB's well known because people often study in the anticipation they're going to be lawyers. Yeah, and if they do an LLB with us, they can choose a pathway in the LLB. That means if they wanted to become a lawyer, that means they want to do the BSB, which is the barrister route, or you might say the solicitors route. They would study the foundation subjects, which would support them on the professional courses if they go on further. So we're fully equipped law school that would provide that support. And then some people just want to come and do an LLM, and that won't give you access to the legal profession, but some people see having a English master's degree will give them more credibility in an international market, because it's a standard, I think, And I guess the experience or the example I give is my wife is Filipino. When she came over to the UK, she had a degree, but the Filipino degree was a little lighter than our degrees in the UK. But she got accepted onto a master's because she had work experience.
Okay.
And then she did an accountancy and finance degree, and now she's got a job at one of the universities in Leeds. And, that's an example of, she's my wife, but that's an example of somebody coming in from out away and making a great life for themselves, as you might say.
Yeah. And the duration, the time that they have to invest for LLB, LLM, what is the duration for that?
Well, the LLB is 3 years. And the LLM is 12 months, but a full 12 months. Although we say 3 years with the LLB, they're actually only studying for 24 weeks.
Okay.
So it's 2 semesters. They're assessed normally after each semester in one thing or another, and then they get the summer to do what they want. With the LLM, it's a little bit more intense, but it's done in 1 year, where a lot of postgraduate things are done in 2 years. You get to do it in 1 year.
Yeah. And also, like, the most important factor that plays for any student is also the tuition fee. Like, for the tuition fee for the students, that's the huge commitment. That's a huge investment.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone says that. How much is? Yeah, stop telling me about bursaries. Just how much is it going to cost?
Yes.
That's what people say. I mean, we have got very large bursaries at the moment. For the undergraduate, it's I've got it written down. It's £5,750, but as I've just said, what's it going to cost me? Well, it's going to cost you £11,090, and you have to compare that with other universities, and that is very competitive. In fact, it's significantly lower than a lot of universities. And the master's programme is £6,000 bursary, which comes out at £12,440, I believe, the cost of an LLM. And, as I said, you're not just buying education, you're buying an experience as well.
Definitely.
And people do say, well, what can I do afterwards? What's it going to do? You have choices. You're either going to go do something, a professional course, but that's going to cost you a lot more money, or you're going to then take that program and try and get a job. You can apply for the post visa, which is 18 months. But you have to be very proactive if you want to get a job. Nobody is going to email you or a British student that we've got you a job. We've heard you're doing a degree, and that doesn't happen. You have to engage with all the opportunities that are going, and you have to try, work, sign up to agencies. You have to do job searches.
Yes.
As I put it, if you are unemployed in the UK, in order to obtain benefits, you have to prove that you are actively seeking work. And that's really what students should see themselves, is actively seeking work every week. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. As you mentioned about the bursary, so I would want to highlight it in Nepali as well for the viewers who's actually watching us. So you can get 12 lakhs of scholarship or the bursary that you will be eligible for. So if anybody is looking forward to study the law program, then definitely reach out to us. We will guide you through for the whole process, and also guide you through for the programs that's available. Definitely. So, and also like, what are the career option after LLB and LLM? So, what's the pros of studying LLB and what's the pros of studying LLM?
Well, as I mean, you would think, and probably 30 or 40 years ago, people coming to study an LLB 40 years ago, 90% or maybe 80% would go on to be lawyers. I think today, probably 80% of students don't do that. So it's reversed. And most people are doing it because they see it as a good degree to do other things, not just law. Because the problem with going on to do the profession is it means a lot more money. And then people have to sometimes say, I spent enough money, I now need to get a job. And the question and the skills that you'll have obtained through either of those programs should give you the ability of working in a corporation or a public authority or government authority, because you will have acquired those types of skills that should be able to help you decipher information, and you might say get those jobs.
Yeah. And can a non-law student also can apply for the LLM program?
Yes, for the LLM, in fact, it's very unusual for a student with an LLB, I think, to apply for an LLM. Some people say it's an advantage if I've done an LLM. Maybe it is because you have to know some of the terminology.
Yes,
But to be honest, lots of people come and do an LLM who don't have law degrees. They just want to do something postgraduate, and that's fine. So it's not a requirement. It's not a prerequisite. What is a prerequisite is that you, in your undergraduate, you have obtained a particular level, and I'm sure you'll be able to explain what that level is to the potential students. But so the answer to this question is no. You don't have to have done a law degree.
Okay, and also like, how often, like, how good and welcoming is it for the international students to become a legal practitioner or the solicitor in the industry in the UK?
In the UK?
Yes.
It's incredibly hard to become a barrister for an international student, but it's incredibly difficult to become a barrister for an English student because it's very competitive. So it doesn't matter whether you're foreign or English, it's very competitive, very, very difficult. So you need to be aware of that before you go down that route. And I've seen many students that have done the bar course but have been unable to practice simply because they can't get pupillage. And then they actually apply back to be a solicitor, and so they go back into the solicitor route where there are more jobs, as you might say. But if you want to be a solicitor, you have to take the professional courses, and then you have to get a training contract of type of experience beforehand. So it's not easy, but it's not easy for anybody. One thing that the international students normally have an advantage, they've got languages, whereas often English students don't have languages, so that's one thing that they've got. If you want to be a solicitor, it's more doable, but you might end up having to go to London once you've completed, because there are wider opportunities in London for those types of jobs. Particularly, there'll be lots of people from Nepal in London to advise.
Yes, also in regards to like paralegal team that they can have as a career. So, and also as a company directors, they even if they have the degree from the law, they can actually explore to on the other industries, and that will play as a plus point for their career. They do not have to be a solicitor or the practitioner.
No, they don't. As I said before. I say 20%, and probably even less than that, be going to be lawyers. But the degree enables them to, like say, go for different professions. It's very helpful in government type jobs, but also, as you mentioned, which I didn't mention before, it helps you if you want to be a company director, because you're able to, you might say, purchase a company, understand the legal aspect of it, and understand a little bit more about contracts,
Mm-hmm.
the terms and conditions, maybe a bit of employment law. Those types of things are beneficial. Obviously, if you come back to Nepal, you would have to do some comparative work because it won't be the same as English law, but it won't matter because you'll have got the skills already.
Yes. And also, like, this probably would be like my second last question before ending this. But yeah, also many of our students would also do the part-time job while they're studying. How possible it is to actually invest their time in the studies as well as a part-time, and will they be able to work into the law firm or anything as such related to their course?
No, that's not going to really happen, and it won't really happen for English students
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
That doesn't really happen, that you're somehow going to be able to work your part-time in a law firm. That's unlikely to happen
Mm-hmm.
because they would want probably a longer a full-time commitment as a
Yeah.
paralegal. That would be the logic of that,
Mhm.
unless you're experienced and you're going part-time there
Mhm.
with them. The idea is that lots of English students and students work. They have to work to help them finance their lifestyle,
Yes.
yeah, or they may have taken loans, but they need money, yeah, and so we understand that very well. We create the timetable that gives them that space, but also you have to balance that with studying and getting a good degree. You're not going to get a good degree if you're working 30, 40 hours a week, but as an international student, you can't work 30, 40 hours a week. You only can work 20 hours a week, and that's enough. Now, you're going to work more likely in some type of maybe fast food, maybe some entertainment area, arena, or something like that. It won't be likelihood that a law job, that's unlikely. It's like, but you may even work in a bar or something like that.
Mhm.
But that's what most students do because they just want that money. They want, and the good thing you might say in the UK, there is a minimum wage. So you do get an amount of money, but the job won't come to you. You have to go get the job. Yeah. Lots of people think, and some students have come up to me and said, how do you get these jobs? And I say, well, what have you done? And they'll say, well, nothing. I said, well, nobody's going to knock at your door. You've got to be proactive, and that's why I said that you have to really, the education length is, you're trying to enjoy yourself, but you have to work, and then you've got to, it is a full-on thing.
Yes,
yeah,
intensive course.
It's a very intensive course. It's a very
Yeah.
intensive trying to enjoy yourself, but you have to realise that your time there is very short.
Very sure.
So you have to give it everything whilst you can, but you have to more than anything make sure you get a good degree, because at the end of the day, if you haven't, then it misses the point where you were ever there. Yeah.
True. So any last message for any of our students who's watching this, who's looking forward to study in UK and make their career into the law, like the whole sector there, and also like a final message for the international students who are coming to study in UK?
Yeah, I mean, the message is this: it's going to be different, but that's good. You want it to be different. You need to be prepared to, go for it, be open, don't hesitate, speak up, go ask questions, don't be shy, look for the opportunities, say that you can do it, take every opportunity that's there, because if you don't do those things, you'll miss those things. Yeah. So my advice is, go for it, go for every opportunity you can see, and don't lay back and think somebody's going to give you a job. You really have to work at those things. Everybody does.
Thank you so much for that wonderful message. And yes, definitely the whole session was quite informative. Leslie, did I miss anything to cover in this podcast?
No, I don't think so.
Yep, so we have all of our informations into the website as well, and definitely you can come to Access Education Network if you would like to get more information about your career in law. So yeah, thank you so much, Steve, for your time. It was wonderful to have a conversation with you.
Oh, it's been wonderful to come here and enjoy your hospitality. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again in
okay.
Nepal. And everyone who's watching us today will be back with another exciting episode for you all. For then, stay tuned and get connected with Access Education team for your further international study abroad journey. So see you again. Bye bye.